but one that has kind of come in out of nowhere ultimately. And, you know, a lot of us that are kind of more versed in, you know, what's happening outside of the country in terms of football, stuff that's happening abroad, are very happy about this signing and excited, I would say, about this name, Jurrien Timber. I know a lot of people probably aren't too familiar with his work. Probably a lot of us that play FIFA and FM and stuff have seen this guy's name pop up. You know, wonder kid status, gone on in these games to become a great, amazing player. And now that Arsenal want to sign him, we're looking forward to it because we know the trajectory he should be on. I have seen Timber quite a bit for Ajax. Obviously, we just had a World Cup last year where he featured in a back three for Holland. I think this is a great signing, and you know, it's the I's are still being dotted, the T's are still being crossed. But this, just for me, represents what Arteta is trying to do with this team. Like, pure versatile player that can. I've seen him play. I've literally seen him, not like a highlight thing. I've literally seen him play centre midfield and boss. The only thing I'll say is that it was a Dutch league, but I've seen him play centre midfield for Ajax. I've seen him, like I say, for the national team. He plays in a back three, like a centre back, like right centre back or something, next to Van Dijk. Allegedly he plays right back as well. I haven't seen that, but like, I just feel the versatility, the age profile, what he'll bring to the team, like just as a sheer athlete alone, and the boy has ability as well. Like, this is a very exciting signing for me personally. Like, what did you see when Arsenal were like first linked to this guy, and then obviously now it's like escalated to the point of it's nearly done?
It's like you said. I think the first thing I thought of, I was like, oh, I'm sure, like when I saw Ajax, I was like, I'm sure I liked what I saw at the World Cup recently. And so obviously went through YouTube, confirmed that, and was like, and doing a little, like, you know, research and stuff. Everything I thought about him was true. He looks like he's like a right back, centre back hybrid who can invert. He's comfortable on the ball. I think he's like 5'10", 5'11", so not the tallest for a centre back, but for a right back, perfect, you know. And it just comes again, like these signings, and you know, not obviously to kind of, we will focus on him, but you know, just leaning back into like when we see Arsenal move mad, or previously in terms of transfers and players, Arteta or Edu, whatever, or Garlic, them man, they just bring out another person who just makes you believe in the project, because this is exactly what we need. You know, to raise the ceiling of the floor. In terms of his play style, it just suits us to a T. And it's again about bringing in these players that, you know what, oh, this man got injured, don't worry, this man can fill in, this man can come in here. Again, bringing that unpredictability, because he can play right back, he might go around you, he might invert, he might drop back. You know, all of a sudden you don't know what to do with that. You know, how do you adjust when you got players who can pop up anywhere in possession? You know, same way we saw just with Zinchenko popping up at left cam, you know what I mean, playing through balls to Saka, who's on the right-hand side, you know what I mean? Like, imagine now you got Timber doing that on the other side, and then you bring in these other players, you know, who are able to just pop up anywhere. All of a sudden, you know, I don't even know, Saka's playing through balls to flipping, I don't know, Saliba in the future. Who knows, bro? It's too exciting. I mean, I did see something before we came on, coming out of Holland or Netherlands, saying that the deal's been like agreed to 2028, but they're still agreeing on a fee. Because I know we had the report, it didn't come out official, but I think it was like the 30 million or something like that rejected. So apparently they're trying to meet somewhere, but it looks like, again, like always, personal terms are fine, and you know, we're just hashing out the pounds and the pence or the euros, however you see it. But bro, I'm so excited because, you know, you can just see that players like Holding are just not going to be able to hang for very much longer. And I got no problem with Holding. You know, we discussed him in the review about what he brings and his position in the club, but you know, when you got players like this, he just becomes a non-entity, really. Like, he becomes like, you know, in break in case of emergency, because there's maybe so many injuries, and we hope we're not in that position. But it's a massive floor raiser, and you know, I know I've spoken a bit negatively about players coming from the Dutch league and not being able to translate it, but he fills me with a bit of, of course, translating it from Dutch league to here will be difficult, but I think, I've got faith in Arteta. That's literally it. I'm going on faith and obviously the player's ability that, give it 6 months, maybe he hits the ground running, but give it 6 months, he should be comfortable in the league, at least to show us something towards the back end, and then next season after next, he really starts to land. So excited, my bro, excited.
Yeah, he's a great player, man. You were just mentioning the fee. I think, yeah, you're right. It was about 30 million Arsenal bid. It was rejected. I think it's been reported Ajax up more in the way of 50 million. I'm sure they can find a way to bridge that that gap, or whatever the case is. Ben White costed 50 million, and for me, as a player, this guy is better than Ben White as a footballer. Now, obviously, Ben White knew the league, came in, hit the ground running more or less. Even he had a lot of question marks around him because we paid 50 million from a guy from Brighton. I remember when we signed Ben White, I had no clue who he was.
I remember
saying me and this Ben White have been in the same England. I don't even know who this guy is, bro. Like, never even heard of him, bro. Like, never even heard of him.
Just
like, and I'm watching him he's in this league that we love week in, week out. I had never even heard of Ben White. I was like, we're special 50 million on who? But he fulfilled the prophecy. And
definitely.
Again, you mentioned the evolution of this team. This has been a reoccurring thing. We've been mentioning the speed of the evolution, bro. Like Tierney allegedly is now staying, or at least Newcastle are not so much interested, right? You mentioned Holding, who it's becoming harder and harder for him to be that backup and to enter this team with how we're kind of evolving it and stuff like that. If Timber comes in, I'm almost saying, well, where's Tomiyasu going? Because like I don't know, like obviously if Timber there, if you want to invert on the right, you start Timber, I guess, innit? I guess that leaves a good option if Saliba or Gabriel fall sick, injured, whatever the case is. White can now play in the middle, and we're not scattering around for like a makeshift centre back or Holding. Like, so it's creating great options, but this is like we said, Tierney, who a matter of years ago we said, give this guy our bloody armband,
our savior.
He can't get into the team. Tomiyasu, who we were raving about for at least the first 6 to 8 months he was at Arsenal. Like, obviously last year he had a lot of injuries, but now he's literally been replaced. Like, Tomiyasu can play left back, Tomiyasu can play centre back, everywhere, all over the pitch. This is it. Like, the evolution of this team is happening so quickly, just because of every season so far the level has risen. We finished second last year. I mean, if the level rises again, we win the league, right?
This is it.
It's that, but like, I just feel like with him being able to come in right back, centre mid, possibly, it's going to be interesting. Where do you think is the idea to play him with all the options we have, and maybe not, we're not obviously going for Caicedo. Is possibly a centre mid option more so than a defensive option, do you think?
I think it'd be a defensive option. I think you are on the right line with him being maybe the starting right back, because he can do the Zinchenko thing. So we have that unpredictability, and then Ben White becomes the hashtag right back / centre back cover. So if Saliba needs to sit down or Gabriel needs to sit down, you bring in someone just as competent who can again.
So you think basically Ben White is out of the starting 11?
I think potentially yes, and I think it'll be one of those things where Ben White will start if everything goes the way I'm thinking. Ben White will still start the season, but you'll see Timber get integrated in bit by bit, and then with a view of him coming in because he can do the inverted thing. Because we haven't seen. I thought maybe Ben White wouldn't have been. I wouldn't have thought he couldn't have done it, but maybe we haven't actually seen him try at all. And the fact that the last couple of games he put Partey there to do that role on the right side makes me think that Ben White can't do it, or he's not confident in his ability to do it yet. So him bringing in Timber, I'm thinking, okay, Timber will be right back in the long term, with Ben White providing, centre back cover. But I'm hoping that all this means is that we have so much rotational options that, we're not in a position where Tomiyasu gets injured and we're crooked and we're having to, do all this sort of stuff. So even in a factor where you can get more use out of players like Tierney, like Tomiyasu, who you can call upon when you need them, and let them bring them their skills while they're not injured, because we're not having to rely on them so much. So I would say I think more right back, but it's kind of like Zinchenko's played probably most of his season in centre mid, but he starts at left back. So it doesn't really matter in Arteta's formations and stuff. You just end up anywhere. So I wouldn't complain if I was right back and I want to play centre mid. You'll probably end up at left camp, in the game. So yeah,
and I think that's exactly right. It's just the rotation. It's just the option of wherever in it. Like with him, maybe Timber starts right back, Ben White's on the bench for a game, and we can invert on the right, and then Tierney can start on the left as left back.
Yeah, this is it.
Or vice versa. If Zinchenko starts left back, then Ben White starts on the right, sort of thing. And we just have options, and no one can really predict where we're coming from. I think that's very important, especially with the added challenge of the Champions League. And then what as well, obviously we've been talking about Kai Havertz a lot as well, when people are saying where does he fit in, or is he just an option? It's about time Arsenal especially start having 40, 50, 60 million pound players on their bench.
Brother, you're saying it, yeah.
It's about time, because now it's like we've had like 2 seasons where we're bringing academy players off the bench, and at times Arteta hasn't even done that because he just doesn't trust them ultimately. Now there's 40, 50, 60 million pound players on the bench. You have to bring them on, you have to trust them, and this is the level of depth. Like people saying, like Kai Havertz 60 million, he's got to start for me. Why? I don't understand.
Bro, this is what I'm saying. It's like the money you pay doesn't mean it. Like if there's a clear hole in the team, then of course, you know what I mean. But if not, then this is just the price of the going rate for good players.
Exactly.
You can't expect all your squad players to be 20 million and under, and then that definitely means they're not starting.
A top club needs to have that level of option off the bench. Let's not pretend like for a while Grealish was an 100 million player off the bench. This is it.
So it's only this season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
we can't pretend, we can't force it. But in regards to Timber, for me, this is one of the most exciting. Like Declan, like it's exciting once it happens, especially. But for me, this is just kind of the out of nowhereness, like the need for this player, the quality again. For Mane signing a deal to when you say 2028.
2028 is what's been reported, brother.
Like just embed into N5. welcome. Like
I'm telling you,
everything. Like this is very good signing for the future, man.
Yeah, man. I just start to think and visualize, like if you say you got Zinchenko left, him right, and let's just say even if it was Partey, but you got Declan right at the 6. Imagine both of them inverting, and maybe Rice coming back and then making kind of forming like a 3 with Saliba or Gabriel. Or because Gabriel and Saliba are so good and quick and strong, you can say to them, you know what, you can literally play with like 2 at the back, and then have more players because you got these inverted players, and you got more players, more options to pass to. And even if you do someone tries to hit the counter, you got someone like Rice who's very athletic, who can make up the yards. Saliba, Gabriel, it looks to me like we're trying to take more risks by putting more people forward or having more options. But obviously you still got to think about your back 4. But if you have players like Holding there, then you're going to get caught out. But when you've got these strong, fast players who are also comfortable on the ball, you can take more risks, you can put more guys forward and overwhelm the opponent. And it's just this Timber guy, I just think he takes kind of like Zinchenko, but we didn't know Zinchenko was going to be this, you know? But now we know it, kind of, you're even more excited because you're thinking if he can even replicate half of what Zinchenko did last season, we're going to be a different animal. You're not even going to know which side we're coming from, because 1 second Zinchenko is popping up there, next second he's dropped back or he's pushed up, and then Timber comes like, yeah, bro, it's going to be different.
2-pronged attack.
This is it, man. This is
what we need. It's what we need.